Says Compulsive Gamer the O.C.G, and hopefully I'm live! With the Surge, giving it another shot. Sweet, I'm live.
The ancient Greeks once said, "A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in." We tend to forget about this, tend to be careless, but we have to rise to the task together. It's up to all of us to sow those seeds, and it's up to us to nurture them towards growth. Creo is not just another company. With Project Resolve, we are building the path to the future. Follow us into a new era, a utopia for all mankind. With every launch, we're healing our planet, restoring its natural shield. A return to the green world we remember, where our children can once more play in the sun. Resolve is not only revitalizing the Earth, but its people too. We've all dreamed of it, and now Creo is making it a reality. Together, we're strong. Together, we can make a change. Unleash your potential with us.
Welcome. I know you're glad to be here. I am, and I'm glad to see you. Creo, you know who we are, or at least you think you do. Everywhere you turn, we're there, whether you see us or not. Maybe it's time to take a closer look. Creo is one of the world's largest manufacturers of consumer and industrial products, but we're so much more. And that's why you're here. At Creo, we're always reaching for the stars. See, we've always had our eyes on the big picture. From work in the third world, valuable minds in the city education initiative, and of course, programs like Project Resolve that benefit us all. Creo not only wants to change the world, Project Resolve, we aim to save it. There's no divide here. At Creo, we're all in this together. So welcome to your new life as part of the Creo family.
Final stop. Russo Station. exit to the right. Welcome to Creo. We're happy to welcome you as part of our ever-expanding family.
Hey, sorry, but I'm new around here, so where should I go?
They're waiting for you in job registration.
Sure.
All passengers, please proceed to job registration immediately. This station will be shut down shortly.
Welcome to registration. Creo believes in the right tool for the right job and the right person to wield it. Please choose from our 2 currently available positions and form an orderly queue. You will receive your personal work gear voucher after registration.
The first day on the job? Don't be late.
Okay, thanks.
The first day on the job? Don't be late.
If you believe you can move mountains, Creo has the job for you. Because as a heavy operator, you can literally do that. Pure power, relentless performance. Nothing can hold you back. Are you ready? Then join us as a heavy operator and save tomorrow today. If you like living life in the fast lane, Creo provides you with the highway to success as a field technician. Light, versatile, state-of-the-art. Gear up and save tomorrow today.
Rig installation program running. Program complete. Patient sedated. Initiating surgery. Implanting neural link.
Hold on, let me see something real quick. Echo, I love you. You have to get up, babe.
Are you receiving? Hello? Can you hear me? Are you still there? Your rig has been damaged. Its distress beacon has been triggered. You need to get back into the factory.
The rig seems to work for me. Honestly, it's the least of my problems. I mean, I can walk. Huh. Never thought I'd be able to say that again.
Well, that's good to hear, but the power core is damaged. You'll have to find a new one to make your rig fully functional.
I don't know you. I'm surrounded by dead people here. Maybe someone would like to explain what's going on.
I'm sorry, I don't know. You need to get inside. Maybe you can make something to protect yourself. Operations always has a gear assembly.
Well, okay. I'll just stroll right on over to the factory then.
I certainly don't recommend walking, but there should be a maglev station nearby. They're never far from ops.
On my way.
Be careful, and don't forget to replace the power core of your rig or you're not going to get very far.
Oh my fucking god, get out of the way, get out of the way, you fucking piece of shit! Oh my fucking god.
Damn it, why don't you listen? You need to upgrade your power core or replace it. Otherwise, you ain't getting through that door. If you keep trying to overload it without the proper power capacity, security is gonna end up all over your ass. We've come too far to get caught now. Those implants are worth thousands. This is our golden ticket out of here, man. Don't screw it up.
Do you require assistance, Warren? Connection to database restored. Checking database. Gear voucher detected. Gear voucher redeemed.
Hold on a second, let me check something real quick.
Have a nice day, Warren.
Oh, shit.
Happy to help. Hello.
I wanna know if you ever be on the brain. I wanna know.
Look out for your fellow workers. They look out for you.
Yeah, that's a problem. Oh shit. I wanna know.
Have a nice day, Warren. Be careful out there.
Oh, hey, how's it going, dude?
Great news, guys. We finally got the new gear assembly unit down here. And not a moment too soon. The old one was spitting out worse trash than what you put in. For now, though, you'll have to manually unlock the schematics on your local accounts, at least until they update the interface. The rest is business as usual. You know, pick what you need, make sure you got the proper materials, and hit OK.
Oh well, not a big deal.
Look out for your fellow workers. They look out for you.
Yeah. Which I've already got a sizable amount of headway through. I can probably get the platinum for that today. Of course, I'm also juggling other stuff. I don't want to force myself to play Oblivion to make myself sick of it and get burnt out, you know what I mean? That's why I'm playing other shit. I was playing Mafia earlier. Yeah. Definitely will be a feather in my cap, for sure. Plus, I've always loved Oblivion, but it was literally never even possible to get a platinum up until now, because it was on PS3, but it came before PlayStation got trophies, and it didn't get updated. Like, a couple of the games did get updates that had trophies, Oblivion did not, so it's never had trophies until now. Yeah. Yeah, it came out like 2007, yeah, so it makes sense. They didn't bring out trophies for PlayStation 3 until 2008, I believe. And then a couple of Sony games got updates. Like Metal Gear Solid 4 got trophy updates. Got an update that had trophies. Uncharted 1 got an update that had trophies, but, you know, a lot of the developers didn't want to go back and update the games, unfortunately. So, yeah, there's a lot of those early games that don't have trophies, sadly. You asshole? Yeah, actually, you kind of have to. In this game, you pretty much have to take it off the enemies. So, if you want a particular set of armor, you got to break it off of them. It's kind of what the Surge does that's unique. Plus, while being a Souls-like, that's sci-fi. And a lot of the enemies have weak spots that does like twice as much damage if you hit them there. So it's like, do I want to hit them in a limb with armor and try and get the armor, or do I want to hit them in the area without armor and kill them much quicker? So yeah, it's definitely a very unique system. Plus, I really enjoy the staff weapon type in this game. And the executions are fucking brutal. And the Surge 2 is even better. But obviously you kind of need to play the Surge 1 first. But the Surge 1 takes place in a production plant, you know, slash a CO facility. It's kind of like if Tesla or SpaceX headquarters made robots and they went crazy. That's why it's called the Surge. An unexplained issue went through the system and caused everybody with the rig, except for you and a couple others, to go fucking crazy. But people complain that there wasn't enough variety in this game's locations. So in the Surge 2, it takes place in an entire sci-fi city with like a park, a gambling district, high rise. It's fucking cool. Yeah, I think you'd enjoy them. I think you'd enjoy. Well, man, if you're gonna start your journey out, dude, go back to Demon Souls. That's the real legit beginning, man. And I'm telling you, if you go Dex, you won't find the combat so clunky, dude. I started out Demon Souls going strength, and I thought the same thing you did, that it was clunky and slow. Then I went fucking Dex with a curve sword, and that was the game that made me go Dex going forward. Yeah, you can. But it's still the first, honestly.
Happy to help.
And Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3 actually all have references to it. So even though it's technically not connected, there's lots of nods and connections to it that you won't appreciate until you've played it. Yeah, that is true. And yeah, you can't go wrong. I will say this, it might be kind of hard for you to go back to earlier games with you playing Elden Ring. For one, and for two, I don't think Dark Souls 1 is nearly as good as a lot of people make it out to be. I think that people have rose-tinted goggles on. Because for most people, it was Dark Souls 1 was their first game. But I legitimately think that it's kind of overrated. It's my least favorite FromSoft game. And I don't like it as much as Demon Souls. I felt like it was a step backwards, actually. And it was even rushed. It was blatantly unfinished. Not to the part... I love 2. I've always loved 2.
We've had issues with Robert Weave again. This time about the exoskeleton program. He's refused to have the implant surgery. And we've explained it's hardly invasive, even offered to double his bonus. But no, thinks management will use it to control the workforce. And he even brought up his union nonsense again. If he poisons the others, it could put us months behind schedule. It's amazing. He doesn't see it as making his job easier. I recommend termination.
Yes. They did. The namely performance. Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, we've put up with too much of his trash talking.
Dark Souls 1 ran like hot fucking garbage. Worse than Demon Souls. Demon Souls mostly ran pretty good on PS3. There was a couple dips here and there, nothing serious. But Dark Souls 1 is, you know, when they went to the interconnected world with no load screens, and that was cool. Engine wasn't made for it, and they didn't take the time to properly adjust it. So Dark Souls 1 had fucking terrible frame rate issues. You know, Blighttown has got to be the worst frame rate I've ever seen in a game. And thankfully, the remaster fixed that. It's a lock 60, pretty much on all platforms. Well, besides Switch. Switch is 30, but it's still a consistent 30, which is a hell of a lot more than the original fucking game. You know? So yeah, it does fix that. But I have a lot more problems with Dark Souls 1 than just that. With Dark Souls 1, they were rushed to capitalize on the hype, because Demon Souls was an unexpected hit. They didn't think it would be a hit, so they wanted to, you know, go. So it's the only game in the series that got rushed, and even the director, Miyazaki, has said that, and you can really tell. There are parts that are really good, and then there are parts that you can tell it's just straight bullshit, because they didn't have the time to go back and do that balancing pass. But thankfully, they learned from that mistake, because he made damn sure they were never rushed ever again. And, you know, he's like, it comes out when it's ready. So, and that's why they've never had that problem with any games before or after, because he didn't like being rushed, and he was upset that they couldn't do that last pass. It's not a terrible game. I want to stress that. It's a good game. I understand why people like it. It still has the Souls DNA, you know, and a lot of people love it because it was their introduction to the Souls series, but there are all these people saying, oh, it's the best Souls game ever. Hard fucking disagree. And it has the fucking worst boss fight in any FromSoft game. Oh, God, the old bed of chaos. No, the game actually has good bosses. There are some good bosses. You know, Ornstein Smile is a classic. There's some other bosses that are really good. Gwen, you know, but there are bosses that are not so good. And then there's the old bit of chaos, which is just fucking hot garbage. It's a boss battle that relies on platforming. Okay, so if you're familiar with all of the Dark Souls games prior to Elden Ring, which you've played Bloodborne, the jumping is shit. It's okay that it wasn't that great until Elden Ring, because the game didn't lean super heavily on it. But when you have a fucking boss fight that leans on platform, yes. But it's instant drops. And they knew that it was shit. They knew that it was shit. Because to this day, it is the only fucking FromSoft boss battle where your progress carries over through deaths. So you have to hit its 3 weak points. Yeah. You have to hit its 3 weak points, and after you die, if you hit 1 weak point, it stays destroyed. Okay? That in and of itself shows that even FromSoft thought it was a shit boss battle, and they just didn't have time to fix it. So they're just like, okay, well, all your progress is maintained over deaths. It's fucking awful. You know, there are boss fights that I don't like in pretty much every From Software game. I think, you know, even Bloodborne has fucking the Nightmare Host Mikolash. That boss battle fucking sucks. You know, you're just chasing him through a fucking labyrinth while he repeats the same dialogue and ambushes you with enemies. Like, worst boss fight in Bloodborne, like, no fucking question. Well, to me anyway. But that boss battle was still not just objectively terrible. The old Bed of Chaos is horrendous. I never really had problems with Amygdala. And at least that's a proper fight, man. You know, I don't want to fucking chase this asshole through a fucking maze. Oh, cause. Or some say cosm. Like, that boss battle fucking sucked. Yeah. The DLC is pretty good, though. But then again, FromSoft pretty much has always rocked DLC, and that comes included with the remaster. Artorias of the Abyss. Oh yeah, dude, don't fucking remind me about that, man. That hurts me, like, so much that, like, you love Bloodborne. One of your favorite games, you played the shit out of it, and you never played the DLC. The Old Hunter's so fucking great, man. It's one of their best fucking DLCs. And it has a... It might have, honestly, my favorite FromSoft boss battle. Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower is fucking phenomenal. I'd have to think about it, but that is definitely top 5 FromSoft boss battle for me. It's like a fucking ballet of death. The setup, the story, the lore behind it, her moveset, the way the boss fight escalates, the music, everything about that boss battle was fucking perfection. She's tough, she fits the bill, but she's never cheap. Her movesets are beautiful to look at. As she was in the lore, she's one of the greatest hunters who ever lived. It's just everything about that boss battle is fucking perfection. And there are several other good boss fights in that DLC. That's just, of course, the best one, but I think there's like 5 boss fights in the Old Hunters, and they're all good. There's not a single bad one in the lot. So, you know, and it adds so many new weapons, dude. So not even just like the DLC, it would give you tools for your other playthroughs, you know? Because it's, people complain that Bloodborne didn't have enough weapons, and I mean, I understand why, because each weapon is supposed to be 2, and they wanted to go less weapons, but more unique ones. But so they're like, okay, so the base Bloodborne has 15 hunter weapons, if I recall, and the Old Hunters adds 12 new ones. The Old Hunters basically doubles the fucking weapon lineup. And they're fucking awesome weapons. You have a fucking longsword that turns into a bow, which actually gives you like a solid ranged option that's not present in any other weapon. You get Lady Elizabeth's Blood Katana, Rikoyo, which is super awesome and can split into 2. You get a variance on the Beast Hunter saw, but it's super cool, like the prototype, the Beast Hunter safe. You get the fucking the boom hammer. It's like you know the Tonitrus, where it's like electric. It's like the melee fire equivalent of that. It's a hammer that boom does explosions. It's literally called the boom hammer, and lights itself on fire and explodes. So if you're going heavy, it's fucking a godsend. There's more, and I can't think of them all, but there's a lot of really good weapons in the old Hunters, man. There's, a bunch of new runes that are good for building your character, of course. A bunch of cool new armor sets. New tools. And it's 3 big-ass new areas. Ah, shit. Oh, well, I don't care. I'm just trying to grind out a little bit to get better armor.
Be careful out there.
And, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot. The fucking Moonlight Greatsword. And Bloodborne has the best version of it. The best. Yeah, I don't... We have different opinions on that, man. For you, you almost never do DLC. For me, if I play a game and I like it, it's like a guarantee I'm gonna do the fucking DLC. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna get DLC for all games, but if I'm a big fan of the game, I'm getting the DLC. And you don't really do that, even if you really like the base game. Yeah, see? No, I mean, I totally understand. That's why, I try to tell you, man, don't play, an Elden Ring right before the DLC drops. Play it, the month before. That's what I did. I played through Elden Ring, the main story, and then had it fully finished over a month before the DLC came out. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't get burnt out. So it was still fresh in my head, but it wasn't, oh, I've just been marathoning. You fucking were marathoning the base game before the DLC came out, so I don't blame you for being burnt out. But their DLCs are fucking legendary. FromSoft is literally known for making some of the best DLCs ever made. Many people think they're better than the fucking games that they came into, okay? Artorias of the Abyss is better than the entire base game of Dark Souls 1. 1,000,000 fucking %. And... yeah, that's true. And because the DLC for Dark Souls came after, it doesn't have any of the rush issues and balancing issues that the main game had. They had the time to iron that shit out. So, it has some of the best boss fights in Dark Souls. It has the best boss fight in Dark Souls 1. Fucking awesome weapons, great setting, doesn't have the balancing issues, And Dark Souls 2 DLC is also fucking amazing. I know people who don't even like Dark Souls 2 that like the DLC. And while you know me, I like Dark Souls 2, the DLC is fucking phenomenal. Oh, God. Fuck me. Nah, it's not a big deal.
Happy to help.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of other DLC boss fights that are that good, man. The fucking Burnt Ivory King is fucking amazing. And it's like a story group battle. It's basically where they had the DNA for the Radon thing from the base game. Because he was a heroic hero that got corrupted, so you basically have to drop down with his knights. And his knights that are still loyal to him are fighting with the knights that are trying to save him, and you're in the middle of it. So it's like a fucking free-for-all brawl before you take on the king. Super fucking awesome boss fight. One of the fucking DLCs, dude, takes place entirely in a frozen city. Ilium Lois. And it's super beautiful. It's got like a fucking giant cathedral. Yeah. Each of the DLCs is themed. You have an underground sunken city. Crown of the Sunken King. Because it wasn't fucking Dark Souls 1. That's why, man. That's why. Okay? You've seen how hard the fucking fanbase dick rides Dark Souls 1. And they were expecting Dark Souls 2 to be identical to Dark Souls 1. And it's actually not. It's very different. All of the Souls games are. Even Dark Souls 3. But people expected it to be Dark Souls 1. And that's why I personally think they hated it. Because it was its very own game. And they just wanted more of Dark Souls 1. And that's not what it is. It has the same DNA, but it's very different tonally, very different aesthetically, has different mechanics. It's just different. And I think that if you judge Dark Souls 2 on its own merit, it's fantastic, but these people wanted it to be Dark Souls 1.5. And it wasn't. And, you know, it hasn't. Why do you think I'm not more involved in the fan base, Alex? Because they fucking suck. Souls fan base is one of the most toxic fucking fan bases in gaming, okay? That's saying a lot. There's some really toxic fan bases. And they didn't want Dark Souls 2 to be different, and they were upset that it was. And then, according to them, because the levels in Dark Souls 2 don't loop back around and connect to each other, it's the worst game ever made. So, you know, apparently, I get liking the fact that the levels in Dark Souls 1 are interconnected, but to literally say this is a required element or this is a bad game is just fucking dumb. Not to mention the fact that Dark Souls 2 has the best hub of any FromSoft game. Majula is uncontestably the greatest hub that they have ever done. Somewhat, yeah. It's handled in a different way, though. In Dark Souls 1, areas connect to each other and allow you to do the game out of order. In Dark Souls 3, they still have areas looping, but the areas loop in on themselves. Because in Dark Souls 3, the areas were vastly bigger. Dark Souls 3 is not open world, but Dark Souls 3 is where they started to go towards the open world direction. So, the areas in Dark Souls 3 are much, much larger compared to 1 and 2. So, they don't loop into another area, but they loop around on themselves. You see what I mean? And it functions the same way because one area in Dark Souls 3 is the size of like 5 in Dark Souls 1. Like, I shit you not. So it's the same kind of looping, just done in a different way. But I don't care. Like I said, it's cool to have a preference, but to literally say this game is awful unless it has looping environments, it's just fucking dumb to me. Plus, it's not like Dark Souls 2 doesn't have all kinds of shortcuts and shit. It does. I'm telling you, it does. You can still do levels in different orders. So it's not like it's just a full-on Rails thing. It's just they handle it differently. But to that fan base, to that crowd, different was bad. I also think it's the fact that they assumed that each Dark Souls game was going to be exactly the same, because for most of them, Dark Souls 1 was their first game, so 2 got the most heat because it was the first one. They're like, oh, this is completely different. This is not what we wanted. Whereas by the time Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne came along, they were used to, okay, each game is totally different. You know what I mean? So I think Dark Souls 2 got a lot of heat just for being the first to be different, as it was the first one that people played after the original. But you know what I mean? Not Demon Souls. You get the point. So, whereas by the time Dark Souls 3 came around, you had 2 and Bloodborne, so like, okay, each game's a different story. So the fan base, I guess, had adjusted to it? Because Dark Souls 3 is not a retread of Dark Souls 1 either. It's very different as well. And once again, like we've discussed before, I understand wanting something more and being disappointed. You know, in your heart, you're like, man, I want more of this game. And it can be disappointing when you play a new game, and even if the game is good, if it's not what you wanted it to be. I understand that. But you also can't shit on a game for not being what you want it to be. If you're going to judge a game, you have to judge it on its own merits. Or just say, it's not for me and not play it. But if you do play it and you are going to review it, you are going to judge it, then you have to judge it on its own merits. You're judging it, well, this is not the game I think it should be, is not a proper grounds for review. You know, and most of the time, as much as people shit on Dark Souls 2, dude, if you tried to ask them why they hate Dark Souls 2, they would struggle. Like, how often do you see somebody sit there and give a constructive reason why they don't like Dark Souls 2? It's just, oh, fucking Dark Souls 2. Oh, fucking B-Team. They can't even explain to you why they dislike it. Because the reason why they dislike it is because it's just not more Dark Souls 1. And they don't want to say that. And honestly, I'd prefer they did. If they just said, this is not what I wanted it to be, so I was let down, I'd say, you know what? I disagree, but it's honest. Instead, they try to give some fucking reason, you know? And many of the mechanics that people bitched about in Dark Souls 2 were just mechanics that came back from Demon Souls. You know, people bitched about how you would gradually lose health when you die and have to use a human FG to restore it. Guess what? That didn't come from Dark Souls 2. That was from fucking Demon Souls. They just brought it back. But the majority of the fanbase, for some reason, hasn't played Demon Souls, which also drives me fucking bonkers. They're fucking diehard fans. They just say, oh my god, I love Souls, I love Souls, I love Souls. And then they don't play the fucking first game in the series? That's just weird to me. Especially, you know, before it was on PS3. Okay, now I get a PS3. Now it's pretty much on the #1 platform. Readily available. It's part of fucking PS Premium. And you have no idea how many people I have talked to, like, it's my favorite game series. It's my favorite game series. And they've never even fucking tried Demon Souls. That to me is bonkers. Dude, if I say that this game is one of my favorite games of all time, game series of all time, I'm gonna play every major game in the series, at least to try them. And I swear to God, the amount of people that I've talked to who say that they worship the Soul series and, you know, it's their favorite game series and have never even tried Demon Souls is baffling. I would go into the groups and maybe 1 out of every 10 people had fucking tried Demon Souls. Like, I shit you not. And Demon Souls is one of my favorite ones. So it was super frustrating to me. And like I said, once they made, you know, originally, it was hard to come by. Then they fixed it. And now it's readily available. So it's like, what's your excuse? A lot more people have played Sekiro than Demon Souls. I promise you. A lot more. A lot more people have played fucking Dark Souls 2 than Demon Souls. Alex? A lot more. Out of all of them, Demon Souls is the one that's played the least.
To help.
Yeah. Especially because, remember, without Demon Souls, wouldn't be a series. It all started there. Even Bloodborne, dude. You love Bloodborne. I love Bloodborne. Bloodborne literally came from Demon Souls. Okay? The basic pitch for Bloodborne was like, hey, there's a gothic Victorian level in Demon Souls. What if we made that into a whole game? That was literally the pitch for Bloodborne. Because it was the creator's favorite level, and it's most people's favorite level in Demon Souls. Like, what if we expanded this into a full game? So, it's important. And there were fucking references in almost every single FromSoft game to Demon Souls. Tower Knight Shield comes from Demon Souls. Pretty much been in every fucking FromSoft game. The fucking sword that you use to charge up and it have beams that charge, pretty much been in most FromSoft games. Was in Dark Souls 3, was in Elden Ring. It's a spear, it's the same fucking principle. The Sword of Storms. The doll in Bloodborne, not only is the doll in Bloodborne played by the same voice actor who played the woman in black, the maiden in black, the level up chick from Demon Souls, most of her dialogue is reworded and references Demon Souls. So there is tons and tons and tons of references in the series that a lot of people don't even know they're not references because they didn't play fucking Demon Souls. You know, and at first, I was reluctant to play Demon Souls because, I couldn't play it at first because I told you growing up, we were an Xbox household. You play what your dad has, what your parents have, and my dad always preferred Microsoft. So, you know, he had a 360. We were a 360 household growing up. That was the system I played. Okay, and Demon Souls, you know, it's a PS3 exclusive. So, I couldn't have played it growing up if I wanted to. And I played Dark Souls 1 on 360, and I liked it, but I never got, like, drawn into it. Dark Souls 2 is where I fell in love with the series. I played Dark Souls 1 when it launched. And I thought, oh, it's okay. But I wasn't, like, blown away. But then I went to a friend's house right after Dark Souls 2 launched. And they were playing it. I'm like, oh, is this Dark Souls 2? And I sat there and played it with them. And I liked it so much that I borrowed it from a friend. Played through a great chunk of it. I was in love with it. Became a fan of the series. And then I actually wound up buying my own copy. And then my love of Dark Souls 2 is what made me go back and play fucking Dark Souls 1 and beat it. So at first, I was reluctant, even after I got a PS3, because I was about 19, 20 years old when I got a PS3 on my own, to play Demon Souls, because I'm like, I'm not really a huge fan of Dark Souls 1, but so I thought, oh, this will probably just be like a rougher Dark Souls 1, you know what I mean? Because it's before that. But I decided, fuck it, I was going to get it. I saw a copy. I took my grandma shopping for clothes. At Goodwill, because she didn't like buying fancy clothes. So I went with her because somebody had to escort her, and she had some money left over. So she gave it to me, and she's like, hey, why don't you get yourself a game? Because my grandma was cool like that, because the GameStop was like right over across the street from Goodwill. So I went in there, and I was looking at PS3, because I had just bought a PS3 like the month before. And there was Demon Souls, and it was like $16. It was like the exact amount of money that I had. And I thought, you know what? Fuck it, I'll try it. And I brought it home. I was fucking blown away. I liked it more than Dark Souls 1. I liked it as much as Dark Souls 2, and it became one of my favorite fucking games of all time ever. You know, so, like, I'm not even talking, like, nostalgia bias. Because, you know, Dark Souls 1, yeah. And my grandma watched me play that whole fucking game. And what's hilarious is she kind of actually went on the Souls-like journey, dude, because she didn't play the games, but she watched me play them, and she went from not liking them to loving them. Because at first she was like, oh my god, this is so hard. Why do you like this? You're dying so many times. This is impossible. And then she saw me play the boss, play and beat it, and then she would start fucking cheering for me when I did. She's like, yeah! When I would die to a boss when I was really close, she'd be like, fucking thing. And she would actually get pissed off right there with me. And then she started to understand why I liked it, that feeling of overcoming it. And she got down for it. So even though she didn't play the Souls game, she went on that whole journey of, oh my god, this is bullshit. Okay, I kind of see why people like this. I think you should, yeah. Like I said, dude, I know it feels clunky. That's because you went strength. They went, they made a large way in making it so that strength weapons weren't slow as fuck. You know what I mean? They're not, obviously not as quick as Dex. But in Demon Souls, strength weapons are slow. And when I first played Demon Souls, I went strength because I went strength in Dark Souls 2. I went sword and board, you know, the good old classic, and I had no problems finishing the game. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to play strength, and I really didn't like it. Then I went back and I went Dex, and had the curved sword, the O.C.G, and just sliced that fucking game up, and I've been Dex ever since. So, like I said, at the very least, dude, you should go back, and I'm telling you, try Dex. I think you'll like it 100 times, and it's not clunky or slow with Dex.
Let me out. Anyone there? I want to get out.
You know, and you're talking about how you want to play the first. Then if you're going to start the first, then start with the first. You know what I'm saying? And that's fucking Demon Souls. And honestly, dude, I can help you get so fucking busted in Demon Souls, man, that you could cheese the whole game if you wanted. Or just to help you get the good shit. I know that game like the back of my hand, man. Not even just cheese it. I can show you where to get the powerful shit right away. So even if you're not like a fucking broken, you can have a head start. Like I can show you to get some of the best Dex weapons in the game, like right fucking after the tutorial, man. Or show you where to get the Moonlight Greatsword if that's the route you want to do it. And the Moonlight Greatsword in Demon Souls is actually kind of OP in a different way. because it actually goes through shields. It cannot block. It cannot be blocked. And they actually thought that was OP, because it kind of is, and wound up adjusting it for this later games. But in Demon Souls, it is ridiculous because it can't be blocked at all. It basically phases through fucking blocks and shields, man. Can't be parried. So, you know, you have a greatsword that just ignores enemies' defenses. It's ridiculous. And thankfully, when they remade it, they didn't change that because that was such an integral part of that sword. You know, Blue Point knew what they were doing. They made it balance adjustments, but not that. Plus, dude, the remake is fucking gorgeous. You know, FromSoft, I love them, and they have great art direction. They've never been on the cutting edge technically. And I would say a lot of their games look dated. Elden Ring didn't even look amazing when it came out graphically. And I don't mean, you know, like, artistically it looks fantastic, but I'm saying it was not pushing visual boundaries even in, you know, 2022, okay? So where the remake excelled was Blue Point knows how to push graphics, you know? So Demon Souls fucking, the remake is gorgeous. It's still one of the best looking PS5 games, which is really insane when you think that it was a fucking launch game. So, you know, for a fucking day one game, it was crazy impressive, but... and runs like a dream. The 60 FPS mode is pretty much fucking locked at all times. So it looked good, it ran good. They pretty much removed loading screens from the game. Because it loads so quickly, you just see the mist and you're here, you know what I mean? It's like... and they were also the ones that did the Shadow of the Colossus remake, also gorgeous. My... And you know, if you give Demon Souls another chance and you still can't hack it, then just skip to Dark Souls 1. You know what I mean? You can say you tried. But I really think if you get Dex weapons, you will have fun with it, and it will feel very different. And I really hope one day you also play Sekiro. Because I fucking love Sekiro. And I think you would fuck with the combat in it a lot. And yeah, Sekiro usually goes on sale for really cheap. You can usually get it between $7 and $12 these days. And I think you would greatly enjoy the, you know, skill trees and how vertical Sekiro is, with you being able to wall jump, climb, and use a fucking grappling hook. It is the most vertical FromSoft game. Like, yeah, I mean, Elden Ring had the ability to jump, like properly jump, that's cool. But, you know, in Sekiro, you can fucking bounce off walls, climb across ledges, shimmy, use the grappling hook to swing through the air, double jump over enemies' heads. But I can't lie there. It does have some of the toughest bosses. Come on, I gotta get my shit back. God, I got so much shit on my plate, man. I've got to start up Sea of Stars again. That fucking massive DLC for that's coming on the 20th. I've been waiting for that for almost 2 years. They announced the DLC before the game came out, but they've been spending all that time working on it. Game came out in like August of 2023. Then I gotta finish Death Stranding before fucking Death Stranding 2 comes out next month. Thankfully I got time for that. Then I intend to have all 3 Mafia games beaten before I start up Mafia, the Old Country. I intend to get that at launch. So I've been a big fan of Mafia. Although that's not that big of a deal. None of the Mafia games are super long. They're moderately length, so... But I still need to get them done. And then fucking... Lies of P has a DLC coming out. That's basically the size of a new game, and I need to replay Lies of P in preparation for that DLC. And, you know, I'd like to get it done this month. That way, like I said, I don't get burned out when the DLC comes out, but it's fresh in my mind. I'm definitely trying to get it done. You know, there's just a lot on my plate. And then deciding if I want to keep going with fucking Elder Scrolls after I Platinum Oblivion, or if I will, you know, maybe do Fallout or whatever, I don't know. Yeah. And I'd like to do a full fucking playthrough, you know, and fully beat it. Because I really love, you know, Fallout 4. I just didn't get around to fucking great, awesome, and I don't fucking care. Yeah. I especially want to play now that there's a PS5 version. It's a lot better now, just by the merit of that alone, honestly.
Shouldn't you be at your designated work site?
Okay, I need more power. Alright, now let's see how I'd fare with full set of armor. There we go, now I'm starting to get somewhere. in Demon Souls, Wanderer. Plus, you start out with a good curved sword. Not the best, but a good one right away.
Help! Let me out! Help! Let me out! You there? I want to get out! Hey! Over here! Help! Let me out!
Yeah.
We have come into possession of evidence that links Ed Nakana, employee number 776910, to the homicides associated with an individual known as the Liberator. All indications point to the fact that he has deliberately tampered with his neural implant, including disabling its GPS function. Therefore, CreoNet cannot ascertain his whereabouts. While he's at large, he is a serious threat to staff and Creo's image. If this were to get out, we need to take care of this, quickly and quietly.
I have to say, I'm not comfortable with this. Not comfortable at all. We've had multiple accidents in this sector. We have to shut it down and take it to pieces bit by bit. Now, I know what you're gonna say, but we've been lucky. We've been able to sweep the previous incidents under. We can't keep relying on luck. I know nobody cares about the grunts down here, but God knows they will care if the media gets hold of it. Or worse, the Oversight Committee.
Hold on one second.
After the recent events and the continuing threat to Creo security, we are asking all employees to remain vigilant. Please, if you see or hear anything suspicious, report it immediately to your supervisor. Protect yourself, your job, your family. Terrorism is everyone's problem.
This is not a scheduled break time. Look out for your fellow workers. They look out for you. Hello.
anything in here?
Take care.
Shit.
Be careful. Out there.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna switch games.